Hi
Hi
everyone,
everyone,
Assalamu
Assalamu
alaikum.
alaikum. Thank you for joining today, and I'm really sorry about the delay. We ran into some technical problems, but we'll be starting shortly. So thank you for being here today. My name is Emaan Amir, and I am currently working as a performance marketer at Premed.pk. And today I'll be walking you through the basics of setting up your LinkedIn profile and why you should be doing it. So before I start off, I would like to ask you how many of you guys actually have a LinkedIn profile, even if you don't put up everything on it, who has a LinkedIn account over here? Just drop down in the comments a simple yes if you have a LinkedIn account. Okay. That's great, Eliza, that you have a LinkedIn account. So we're basically going to be going over the app LinkedIn code. Basically, if you already have an account, then how you can turn it into something that actually boosts your career, right? So we're gonna start with that, and okay. We're also going to be seeing practical examples of how to do it as well. So I will be showing you guys screenshots from like one of the best profiles on LinkedIn so that आप लोग को हर step बिल्कुल detail में समझ आए. And if you guys feel like you need more clarity on any step, so feel free to drop it in the chat box. So the agenda for the workshop is we're going to go start with a short introduction and why LinkedIn matters. So why it's going to be beneficial for you guys, right? And why even if you think you're not good at it, after this workshop, you're definitely going to be like, okay, this is actually pretty easy, and you would definitely want to do it. And then some profile guidelines about how to set up your profile, and then what a good LinkedIn post looks like. Because once you have your profile set up, because it's a social platform, you will be posting stuff on it. And one common question that everyone has when they're starting with LinkedIn is, "मैं post क्या करूं?" Right? I don't really have any content. I'm not an expert. So what should I share on LinkedIn? So I am going to be answering all of these type of questions for you guys as well. And then I'll be giving you an action plan that I hope you guys will follow through. And if you do follow it through, you're going to have a really good, solid LinkedIn profile, which is going to be really, a perfect magnet, as in the name of this today's workshop, for your career opportunities in the future. Okay, so let's start with a quick introduction, right? So LinkedIn was basically, I'm going to introduce what LinkedIn as a platform is first, right? So LinkedIn as a platform was basically started to help people in hunting for jobs, right? And this wasn't just for online jobs, this is for in-person jobs as well. And it was sort of like what Indeed is right now. It's just a job where a platform where you post jobs and you hire people, right? And if you see the earlier versions of LinkedIn's UI, it was optimized for that only. But over the recent years, especially since COVID, they have been working on improving themselves as a social media platform. So not only is it used for hiring, but now it's also used for building connections. It's used to share ideas. It's used to create groups and find like-minded people. So if you're still stuck in that phrase, LinkedIn is only for finding jobs, then you're like back in the 2000s, right? Because today's LinkedIn is for like 100 more things than just finding yourself a perfect job, right? And this is why when you're setting up your profile, you have to keep this in mind. Okay, I'm not setting up a profile for only recruiters. I'm setting up a profile for like-minded people to find me. I'm setting up a profile and I have to highlight things that people would find interesting and would want to discuss with me, right? And I would want to discuss with them. And you would also want to, they also have groups now on LinkedIn, so you can join the relevant groups and find more like-minded people like you. So the whole point of this is building connections and building connections. One of our recent webinars, by Liba, also highlighted how important it is to be doing this, especially at the start of your career, especially at how in our current age and time where people are so hyper connected, where one thing happening in one industry very heavily affects all the other industries as well. So a meme that could be, for example, in the stock market industry is going to be वो एक दफा viral हो जाए उसके बाद it's going to be affecting like all the other industries as well. So really, we're not in that era where you can just focus. If you're a marketer, for example, you can just focus on only marketing content, but you have to be updated on all the other departments, or you could say communities as well, and what's the latest trends in them. This is where LinkedIn is really, really helping you, because the people on LinkedIn are there to kind of like help you stay up to date on their relative industries, right? Okay. So we've covered a lot about why LinkedIn matters, right? We've talked about number one, and most importantly, is getting good jobs, and at your stage, getting good internships, right? So a lot of people don't post about internships, but they are looking for interns, right? So for example, if I'm especially entrepreneurs, if you want to work with startups, then a lot of the times the best way to find a good job at a start or internship at a startup is just by dropping them a text, right? But a random person dropping them a text on LinkedIn is not going to be as impactful as someone who has their profile set up. And when I see the text from that person, let's say I'm a startup founder and I see a text from an intern that they want to work with my company as an intern and learn from me, I'm going to go check out their profile naturally, right? I'm going to go click on the person's name and see who are they exactly. So if you have a good profile setup, it already gives them a really good impression. Versus if you don't, then you probably wouldn't be texting them in the first place. But they would not be in person. They would think that it's a random person, right? So it's very important to make sure that you are leveraging and creating opportunities for yourself. And again, LinkedIn is no longer just a job posting platform, but actually a whole huge bunch of opportunities platform that you can create for yourself without anyone actually creating them for you. Now we're going to jump on to section 1, and which is basically covering profile guidelines. So your profile or your account on LinkedIn has a lot of elements to it, and we're going to go over the elements in no particular order. It doesn't mean कि जो सबसे पहला element or सबसे important है. It's just in this order because it's going to help you understand, and naturally उस पे सबसे ज़्यादा attention जाती है. The first thing that people look at when they see your profile is your profile picture, which I've had here. We've taken an example of Janak Bal, since you guys are probably watching Shark Tank, so you probably know who he is. In terms of your profile picture, it's really important to make sure that it's a clear picture, so there's not a lot of filters on it, and it's image of you, and it's not a full body image. If you notice over here, it's just an image of his face, but not his face. There's like the upper half of his body showing as well. That's really important because when we're scrolling to LinkedIn, we do see the profile pictures and we want to connect with the person. So if I can visually see your face, I will remember your face every time I see your post. But if it's a full body picture of you, the aapki shakal zoom out ho jayegi, it's just going to look like a figure to me, right? And that in that way, I'm not going to remember you. The chances of me remembering your post are directly linked with me remembering your face. So if I remember your face, I will remember your post as well. That's just how the human brain works. We remember visual things more impactfully than we do just random words, right? So again, make sure that it's a clear picture, it's a centered picture, you look nice in it, obviously, and it's ideally professionally styled. You might have noticed that a lot of people on LinkedIn have a yellow or an orange background in their profile picture, and it's just their face. Right? That's again to make their face pop and make it more memorable. So it's really up to you if you want to do the whole colored background thing. I personally like a more simplistic look like the one over here, but you can go ahead and do the yellow one. Again, it's going to leave a stronger impact on your audience for sure. And then the second thing that a person sees when they view your profile is the picture behind your profile picture, which is called the banner image. Now, over here, you can see, for example, the banner image that this person is using is a picture of them, and it has you could say the services that they're providing, the benefit that users have, or the expertise that this person has, right? So this is because he is a services person. A services person who provides their services to multiple clients and doesn't work with a fixed company but with multiple companies. So normally freelancers like designers and digital marketers or SEO experts, etc., etc. Now for him it was important to add his expertise in the banner. But for a lot of us, for example, I do not have anything written in my banner. It's just a really calming picture of the sky, right? So it's really up to you that if you feel like at this stage I don't have an expertise to market, then you can leave your banner. Don't leave it empty. That's very important. It's like it's not a properly set up profile. Add like any image that you feel like would give a good sort of background, right? So if you're not at that level where you feel like you can market yourself, then you can go with that. But if you do feel like you have a certain expertise or you have something that you want people, the first thing you want to get hired for, right? The first skill you want to get hired for, that would be your expertise right now. You wouldn't be at the level, but it would be something that you are for sure you can help people with. So you could make a banner around that on LinkedIn. You can use Canva to design your banner and then put it up here on LinkedIn. You can find the size of this through a simple Google search, right? And yeah, it should be complementary to your bio, which we're going to come on to next. The third thing a person sees, actually, this is more commonly seen than your banner, is your headline. And I've shown two examples over here, but we'll go back to the previous page just to quickly see. कि जो अशर मिर्जा के नीचे जो lines लिखी है ना, this is basically his headline, right? When you click on a person's profile, their headline shows like this, right? And when you're scrolling through LinkedIn and you're seeing posts, so this is how your headline shows. So you can see in the previous slide, the person had a very long headline, right? But if I was scrolling through LinkedIn, I would only see like the first 5 or 6 words. So that's the most important part of your headline. The first 5 or 6 words. You can make it as long as you want. Like in the previous slide, the person had a headline of like 6, I think it was like 3 lines, right? The kafi lambi thi. But what's the most important part and the one I would want to focus on right now is the first 6 words, right? So over here, ideally, you put in what you want to be known for, right? Often at times we're still as students or, as young people who are still developing their career path, we still don't know exactly what we're good at. But we can, for example, either concisely write it into a short sentence as a concept. Like, for example, Adi has over here. He's simply written that I build communities that pay and love you. So he's not written, okay, I'm like a community manager, right? That's kind of basic. He went and he explained it through emotion, right? So that this is way more impactful than writing simply community manager, right? And if you're playing multiple roles and you want to be known for that, then you can go for the approach that Rabia has, for example, where she wrote that she's an AI and blockchain expert. And then she also wrote her, often at times you have your position and then you have your niche. So when she writes over here, climate change enthusiast, so this is a niche that she prefers to work in or probably has a history of working in. तो सिर्फ उसके नाम के नीचे सिर्फ 6 लफ्ज पढ़ के मुझे उसके बारे में इतना कुछ पता चल गया. So that is what your headline should be, what you primarily want to be known for and what impact you want to be creating. The more precisely and impactfully you can write it, the better the headline is, right? That's the only guidelines you need for crafting a good headline. And again, this can be seen everywhere, not just on your profile, but ये आपके नाम के साथ हर जगह नजर आ रही होगी सब लोग को, no matter what page they're on, right? If even in the comment section, the screenshot from the second screenshot is from a comment section. So even if you drop a comment on someone's page, your headline goes with it. It goes with your name every single where on LinkedIn. So it's the second most important thing after your profile picture. Okay, then we're going to move on to the about section. Now, this is the section where you go on and add as many details as you want about yourself, about your achievements, about your skills and your accomplishments, your expertise, if you have any certifications, then you have a separate section on LinkedIn to add those certifications as well. And it's very important LinkedIn has many sections, right, on in the profile. So, for example, if you have certifications, it's important that you write them in your about section as well as adding them as certifications at the bottom of your page. I will go on and show you towards the end about how exactly to do that. But in your about section, you're going to write about, for example, your journey. Right, you can write about what you started as. You can write about, for example, what your aim is in life. Right, let's say you haven't worked a lot at this point, but you want to create a really good impact, right? So you can go ahead and write about that. You can write about what niches interest you, but what's important to remember over here is it shouldn't be just a random dump. It should have a proper structure to it. If it's about you in the sense of your previous work, then it should be a separate paragraph to the impact you want to create. It shouldn't all be merged into each other, right? It should be easy for the person to read. So, for example, over here, you notice that there's no long essays or paragraphs. It's very short lines because I need to be able to read it really quickly. I'm not going to take my time and go through whole paragraphs about your life, right? I don't really care that much, but I do want to know more about you. So again, making it easy and concise to read is very important. You don't need to use fancy words over here, but it's important to use the right keywords. So aksar at times, if I search on LinkedIn, let's say I'm searching for UX designer, and you have in your about section UI UX written designer written somewhere. So because of the algorithm, your profile is going to rank on top, and not on top, but in the search results, even if you don't have it written in your headline, right? So it's important that you're using the right keywords that you want to be found for. So the right niche, the right positions, the right interests, mention all of those, but in a sensical way, right? And over here you can see this small box of top skills. तो ये add कैसे करते हैं? That's basically experience के साथ. सही है. Experience में जब आप अपनी कोई job add कर रहे होते हैं of your past work, उसमें एक option आता है to add skills as well. So those skills जब आप add करते हैं, they come over here in your about section नीचे as a box. These top skills, ठीक है? And it's important to show these because again, हो सकता है I want to hire you for something and I see I view your LinkedIn profile and you don't have any relevant history for that position, but you do have the skills for it. Because in our time there's so many new positions being formed and new opportunities arising that oftentimes people don't have the background for it, but they have the skills for it, right? And there's this rising trend of hiring people, even if they don't have experience, but only if they have the right skills. So your skills are literally as important as your experience. And don't fake the skill, right? It's very important. Okay, if you're just faking the skill just to fill up your profile, then it's a waste of your time and the time of people who are going to be going through your profile. So only put in the skill that you're 100% confident in, that, okay, I can execute this, right? And then, yeah. So adding your experience while your profile, I feel like this is one of the most important, again, after your headline and your profile, this is, I would say, the third most important part of your profile. Is your experience. Now, if you notice over here, she's also added her internship in her profile, right? Give me a second. Okay. So if you notice over here, she's mentioned that she interned as well, right? So in your experience, you can also add your internships. That's a very, very important factor. What a lot of people do is they add the internship volunteer section, which is wrong because volunteering and internship are really two separate things. Well, supporting a cause or something of that sort, right? But internship is you're gaining valuable skills from it, right? So it's very important to make sure that whenever you're adding an internship, you add it in your experience section, and you can mention the heading as an intern, right? And then when you're adding your experience, one important thing to do is एक तो मैंने आप लोग को बता दी skills add करना, and then you're obviously going to add the time duration for how long you worked and what was the position. And what you can do is, if you notice over here, she's also added a description. right? You can add a description of what exactly you did in your role over here. And this is important because इससे जो बंदा आपकी प्रोफाइल देख रहा होगा ना उसको अंदाजा हो जाएगा कि आपने एक्चुअली में कितना काम किया था, right? So once they read your experience and they see that you've actually written a description, because a lot of roles are vague at times. Because, for example, if I just write simply operations manager, so it's very vague. This manager will be doing a lot of different things in an ed tech company versus in a factory, clothes factory, for example, or in, for example, a fintech company. So it's very important your pointers about exactly what you're responsible for and not the average job description found in the market for that role. Just to leave a really good impression of you on everyone who's viewing the profile. Now, the question is, who is going to be viewing the profile, right? This is where your connections and references come in. So the people you connect with on LinkedIn, kind of like follow or send a request, are the people who are your connections. If they accept your request to connect, then they become your connection. If they don't accept your request, then you just end up following them, but they don't see your content. So the people who see your profile are most of the times the people connected with. So your friends, your colleagues. If you're applying for jobs through LinkedIn, then the recruiter will most certainly be seeing your profile as well. And if you're an active person on LinkedIn, then all the people who see your content, and your content is not limited to just posts, it's also comments that you're leaving on other people's posts. So that will also be your audience. Those are also going to be the people seeing your profile and basically interacting with you, right? So highlight your professional connections and include references or endorsements. The connections से ये होगा कि आपने किसी को follow किया and connect कर लिया, right? References and endorsements are actually endorsements are basically a separate thing, which we'll cover in one of the later slides. But for connections, one more thing that I would like to add is that don't aim for connecting with only top profiles, right? Okay, I want to connect with, like, for example, only Junaid Iqbal and Rabil and like the famous people, right? Go for connecting with a mix of people you look up to, right? For example, founders of startups that you like and all of those people, but also who are growing with you. So find like-minded people like you who have the same interest, who are on the same path, on the same level of your career journey. So maybe they're interns themselves, or they're also connect with them. What that does is you see their activity on your feed as well. So if I like a post and you're connected with me, that post is going to show up on your profile as feed as well, right? That Emaan liked this post. So it's sort of like you find the relevant data for you. So the post they'll be liking, for example, tips about how to get better internships, or tips about how to get XYZ skill. That's going to be coming on your, if they like that post as well. So it's very important कि आप अपने level के लोगों से भी connections build करो, and then on the top level as well. So have a variety of people you're connecting with, not just famous profiles, right? And LinkedIn का algorithm खुद ही आपको different niches से expose कर रहा होगा over time. So that's something you don't really have to be concerned about. LinkedIn actively tries कि if you're, for example, in the education field, to expose you to the finance field or Web3 Valley field and show you different content. What's important is that you engage with it as well. But that will come with time too, definitely. Okay, another section. Now, this one is optional. It's completely optional because if you don't post anything, or if you don't post a lot on LinkedIn, chances are you won't have a post to feature, right? So featured posts are basically, you could say, Instagram पे जैसे आप post pin कर लेते हैं ना top पे अपने profile की, उसी तरह से LinkedIn has featured posts. So you can select a few of your posts and just pin them to the top of your profile. So the person who's going through your profile will see these first, and not just the latest post, right? So if you're not a regular poster on LinkedIn, then maybe having a featured post is unnecessary. But if you do post regularly on LinkedIn, then you would want ideally an introductory post be linked to your profile, right? Or if you have a CTA, if you want someone visits your website, or if you want someone, for example, in this case, he wants people to join his community or book a one-on-one session. So that's why he's featured these posts, because these are directly linked to an action. So ideally, if you do have that sort of post that has a CTA to it, then that would be in your featured section. Or if you have a really, really big achievement, like you want some Nobel Prize or something of that sort, like a really good award that you want to show that you were on Shark Tank, it's a big achievement that people would like know about, right? Then you can also link that over here, pin that up on your featured post. Something unique, basically. And then you have contact details. Okay, so we're going back to Usher's profile. And over here, when we saw his profile, we saw this box of contact info, right? Sorry. When you click on contact info, it opens up this small pop-up where you see Usher's LinkedIn and his website, right? Now, this is up to you what contact info you give to to the people coming on your website. But I would ideally suggest do not drop your numbers, only your email. Right? So you can add another section over here and add your email. Now, obviously, I don't expect you guys will be having your own website, so you can skip this part. But you can add your email instead, and I would recommend having one more contact information than just your LinkedIn chat, because a lot of people don't reach out to you on LinkedIn. They might be viewing your LinkedIn from a private browser or something, right? So having one more contact information is very important, but I would against phone numbers, since mostly we're using our private numbers and we don't have a separate, so it's not really safe to be doing that. But you can definitely put in your email. Okay, so now we're on to, I think that we're almost coming towards the end of the profile. This is where you can basically ask people to put in a good word for you. So if you've worked somewhere, you can ask your boss to drop your recommendation. And what this does is, again, it's creating social proof about you that, hi, I exist and I actually worked in this company. Let's say I worked at Facebook for 5 years, but one way to prove it is just by putting my experience on LinkedIn. Another way to prove it is that the people I worked with can also put in their recommendations for me. What this does is, again, it highlights what I'm good at, what the people I work with like about me, right? Hey, she's very cooperative. Yeah, for example, over here, it's written that Ateeb has always been driven, innovative, and experienced. So now you're getting to know more stuff about this person than just what they themselves told you about in the about section, right? And you're hearing it from another person, so it strengthens that point. Ki, Acha, this is the truth in the person's mind who's going to be reading your profile. Keeping in mind that जो भी आपकी profile देख रहा होगा, they're barely going to be skimming through it. So again, the more sections you have, and again, any sections you actually have to have valid content in it. So the more content you have, the more real your profile seems, because LinkedIn has a genuine problem that there are fake profiles, right? Bot profiles on it. So LinkedIn is trying to cover up and remove those. So this is why it's important that once you're setting up your profile, you do have all the sections complete. And with that, we've wrapped up the profile part. So now we're going to move on to the content. Once you have your profile set up, what sort of content should you post? So a good LinkedIn post consists of a good visual and storytelling. So a lot of people, the most common style of posting for newbies on LinkedIn is, hi, I just joined LinkedIn, or hi, I just got hired, or I just received this certificate, or I'm so glad to be doing this. It's a very short, very formal sort of post. That kind of content is very out on LinkedIn. Now people are posting about things that actually would provide insight and value to the person reading, right? They're posting about things that have a proper story to it, because they know that your audience doesn't want just random data, right? They don't want to know that you got a certificate or you graduated. They want to know what about your graduation is so cool. So you have to make it personal and you have to add a story to it. So how you can do that is by basically first writing a draft and saying, okay, this is I'm going to write a post about my graduation, for example.